all right. There he is. You got hopium for us?
A little less of it, but I'm not going to say it's entirely over. I mean,
Are you serious?
Because they lost this game, yeah. I mean, 10
Yeah.
and 7. If they win their 5, then 10 and 7 probably gets you in. But yeah, obviously it took a hit today. It took a big hit today.
So when you look at the shortcomings of this team and why they lost, why did they lose?
Why did they lose? Deep question there. One, they played a really good team. They played on the road in the cold weather environment, which has plagued this team, and fell behind early. Started to make some adjustments, had a chance to get back in the game, got down to the 1-yard line, and then brutally missed that one, and then it was all done at that point. But even then, it was still always kind of improbable to make the comeback. Didn't tackle. Especially in this cold weather. I feel like when a warm weather team goes into the cold, then the tackling starts to suffer because technique fundamentals starts to change when it hits different. It feels different when you hit and you play the more physical aspects of the game in the cold, and committed too many penalties. So, there were a lot of reasons why they lost this game.
It's a constant that it just seems like teams under McDaniel are not prepared. He's not prepared enough. His players constantly make mistakes. I mean, look at Julian Hill, dude. Why does he play? Why does he play? Well, what does he do to earn a spot every week when he makes a mistake? Guaranteed, every week he will hurt your team. And so it's just, and that's just a little thing, okay? Obviously, there was 100 other things that went on in this game, and you mentioned them. From penalties to mental errors to, even on one drive, Tua kind of was the culprit in it when he misses Achane and Tyreek on that same drive. Those two misses were killer in that drive. You get to the one, dude, what happened to the running game? You abandon the running game once again, and you don't have the kind of offensive line that can pass block all night. They're not that good. You need them going forward some, and you gave them no life to start the running game. It's just, I just feel that under McDaniel, it's so poorly mismanaged. I don't know how you ever see the light at the end of the tunnel with that guy.
Yeah, the preparation was lacking. And, I mean, it was evident from very first. I mean, they come out, get a 3 and out, but then very first chance that a player has to catch a football in these elements, and it's a punt. And I know there's no way to really emulate that in South Florida in the week of practice, in a short week of practice at that with travel. But Malik Washington muffs the punt, and which I asked Mike McDaniel about, and he said that what Malik told him was it changed direction last moment. I mean, these are the elements you're dealing with, and it's the same for both teams. So he had to be more prepared in that moment. He had to take more preparation from coaching staff. So it started from there, and then you don't run the ball enough in these kind of elements. I just looked down because I couldn't believe it. There were only single-digit ball carriers in terms of attempts. Raheem Mostert had 5, Devon Achane had 7, and Tua twice. They only ran the ball 14 times. And, you played from behind.
Where's Jalen Wright? This is the kind of game that you need to add a little hammer to it, dude.
Yeah, we were talking about it. We wanted to see Jalen Wright in this game, bring a little bit more physicality. Raheem Mostert did it a couple times. I mean, he had a nice stiff arm on one, but had one called back to Tyreek Hill holding on it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the Packers are only they ran 25 times, but look at their disparities: 25 running attempts, and then Jordan Love throwing the ball 28 times. So very even, balanced offense, and they were able to get 4.6 yards per carry on those. So they came out playing the way you should in these elements, and the Dolphins, albeit playing from behind most of this game, Tua threw the ball 46 times, and sure, he was very efficient, 37-46. I mean, single-digit incompletions, and then you could even like count them. Like you remember the Achan, Misfire, Tyreek Hill. You kind of like remember those shortcomings, and there were so few of them. But even at 365 yards passing, you set yourself in a hole the whole game that you couldn't dig out of.
By the way, this segment is brought to you by Welt Rheaume. If you need lawyers that you can count on, and with our laws here in Florida, they now benefit the insurance companies. Hiring the right lawyers is the key. Call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume, 954-966-4646. You're dealing with bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Call Welt and Rheaume, 954-966-4646. I'll ask you a tough question. What's the reason to bring Mike McDaniel back in the 2025 season when he hasn't proven to be the guy in these moments?
Because I have to pause a little bit. No, because you're still sticking to the plan that you have set out from the beginning of this era. It hasn't run its course yet, and you can point to this season that Tua missed those 4 games with injury, with a concussion on injured reserve, and then that sort of derailed the early part of your season, set you in a hole where you have to make this a huge comeback to even get yourself into the playoffs, and they've even brought themselves back into the mix. This was a game that it's tough. You're the Miami Dolphins. You don't go late in the season and go winning at the Green Bay Packers when they're good. So this is a loss that I projected. So, I'm not looking at it like such a shortcoming. Now, why are you even bringing him back? But he did instill a lot of confidence into going back 2 years to get him to the point where, you saw the way he was playing. He was just AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And then now this week isn't even over, and now you just lost a game the next day. But it's challenging.
The difference is you complemented him with a running game, and you played more responsible football in that stretch. And then some of you were buying it already, thinking, "Oh, he finally learned his lesson." And here we go in the moment of truth where you really need the running game. You really need to establish the run. You really need to keep Jordan Love and that offense off the field. You really need to chew up the clock. Brother, you just did not commit yourself to the run. And you did that right from the get-go. And then that's where he thinks you could just turn on the running game at any moment. And you can't if you're not habitually dedicated to it.
Yeah, and also just the game script. When you fall behind 14-zip in the first quarter, then that's the way the game is going to go. You're playing from behind the whole way. So, yeah, you're throwing in those cases. Now, I always do prefer even when it's a 2-touchdown lead early, you stick to the game. Right, because there's still 3 quarters of the game left to play. So I don't think you need to
put together a really structured drive. You run the hell out of the ball and you score. It's 14-7. You're right back in the game again, and you're giving your team some life. That's the other thing. If you don't have success, it doesn't. I noticed. I don't know if you noticed it when they went up 14-0. Tyreek was up clapping. Come on, yeah, let's go, let's go. When it went 21-3, he was sitting there in the cold, and he was like, because he knew what was up already at that point.
Yeah. That one felt like a big one, like a crusher there, and then they started doing all their dances in the end zone right before halftime, and then obviously not coming up with the following drive. That was key. Where then the Packers right before halftime were able to quickly get into field goal range and add on to it even more. But actually, at 14-0, then one of their better drives was to that field goal that followed because they held the ball for 7 minutes, and then there was some of the I got to look back at the drive, maybe some of the running game, but then also using the short passing game as a run game complement. So they matched a 7-minute drive with one of their own. When the Packers, though, they came up with the touchdown, Dolphins with a field goal there. But yeah, it was a good drive. And then I'm trying to remember what was the end of that one. They had a play called back, right? Or well, they had to play to Waddle to get inside the 10, and then they started going backwards. Yeah, and then that was their detriment that time. But
Oh,
but you still had chances to stick to the run. Although at 21-3, you were trying to score at the end of the half too.
yeah. The sad part is that's the life you live. Oh, you had chances. Oh, you could have done this. Oh, you could have done that. That's kind of the life that Dolphins live for 35, 40 years now. They never really get it done. There's always close but no cigar. You know what I mean? Always the bridesmaid, not the bride. You know, all those cliches. That's who the Dolphins have been, dude. That's who they've always been. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They do just enough to tease you. And then they kind of like, oh, well, if they could have done this, and now you're saying, well, they can still run the table. I see I see another writer out there putting, well, I don't think running the table is out of question, but why? What would give you that thought that they could do that with this coach? That's kind of the part I don't understand.
Well,
This
it's the
is
schedule. It's the schedule. You look at it, and you don't have another at Green Bay game on the schedule.
no, no,
Yeah. Mm.
you don't. You don't. But you lost to the Colts. You lost to the
Oh,
Seahawks.
without Tua, both of those without Tua.
Okay, you lost 4 games you shouldn't have lost. You know what I'm saying? Either way, they're
Lost the
back.
Cardinals at home. Yeah, and that one
Yeah,
was with Tua, but his first game back. Yeah,
right. But you lost. You shouldn't have lost that game.
absolutely.
You
Mhm.
had to win that game. You've lost. And what was the other game that they lost? Titans, bro. The Titans are a terrible team. You lost that one too. I don't care if it's with or without Tua. You still lost the damn game. And
Oh,
it
I still look back to if you didn't need to make it an IR stint for Tua, but you still said, all right, 3 games you're going to miss plus the bye because you had the bye week in that stretch. If you would have had him back first for the Colts game that follows, which was still 38 days after the concussion, when on day 39, the following day, that Monday, it was the big rollout. Like now Tua's ready. We're going to bring him back this week. So, what I feel like, especially if he didn't have any symptoms from right after that concussion, and I know you want to be sensitive to it and let it all play out, but I feel like, they would have won that Colts game with Tua, and then he would have been on a run going into the Cardinals and maybe the Bills game.
why should we be sensitive anymore? He doesn't give a shit about his body. Why should we give a shit? I don't understand that. Do you want to write an article about that? Why is it the rest of us have to carry a burden he doesn't give a shit about? He's not worried about his family. He's not worried about his team. He puts his body at risk. He puts his entire team at risk, entire season. You just said in this interview, well, they can bring him back because if Tua, if he doesn't miss games, well, I'm sorry, he's going to miss games. He's irresponsible. He told you flat out, he's not putting a guardian cap. He's not going to stop diving. He's not going to stop tackling. He's not going to stop doing what he has to do. If he has to die on the field, so be it. So I ask you again, why the hell should we have sympathy and respect? I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
If people involved don't give a shit, if players take dirty shots at each other constantly, there was a late hit on Tua today. They don't give a shit. They'll take shots at each other, dirty ass shots at each other. They are willing to risk whatever it takes to play. And then the burden is on us to be respectful, to be sympathetic. That sounds pretty ignorant, dude. That sounds crazy. That sounds like it's insane. So I'm supposed to have sympathy for you because you're reckless and you don't care about yourself. Weird. So he was fine in Seattle the following week. He was there. This was the Dolphins season went up in smoke because of optics. You only put him on IR for optics because the kid could have played the following week in Seattle. Because you had to have been cleared by a neurologist to get on that plane to fly for 5.5 hours. So what's up, bro? Tell me. Of course you won't. Just like the whole Jalen Phillips mess. You're not going to talk about that either because that's a mess also. It's just weird that we're supposed to have the sympathy when he doesn't care. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the on-field decisions, I know that comes from you're in the heat of competition and you want to make a play. And he's a football player and he views it as a warrior mentality out there, even when he's not supposed to be playing the quarterback position. I know I'm shaking my head with you, but I'm just saying that's what's going through his head when he's trying to compete out there.
No, it's all premeditated. There's nothing in the moment, my brother. That's a lie. You're creating a lie. It's all premeditated.
Now you're making split-second decisions on the field, though.
That's a lie. He told you at the podium he'll do whatever it takes. It's premeditated, my brother. There is no, at the moment, I had to do this. He's doing it anyway. He told all of us, I am going to do what I have to do in order to win a game. He has told us there's no, it's just in the moment. It's all premeditated. So,
but on the other hand, we have also seen him make the correct slide, dive for a first down when it's not going into a defender. So those are split-second decisions where he made the right call.
And that's premeditated. The same thing. You know what you're doing. So don't do it. But you know what you're doing and you're still diving. You know what you're doing and you're avoiding the tackle. Either way, it's premeditated. You got to stop making it sound like that. He told you who he is. Don't cover up for him anymore. I'm not covering up for him. You shouldn't cover up for him because that's what you're doing. None of it is at the moment. He told you what he plans to do. So when he dives, it's because he felt like diving. And when he doesn't, it's because he felt like he didn't have to do it. That's it. That's all. It's pretty simple. It's not a spur of the moment thing. It's part of his game. It's part of his DNA.
To an extent, yeah. But
it's crazy. But
to an extent, but then there are still moments where he makes that safe decision in the moment. So, yeah, I mean, he is wired to compete and want to lay it all out for his team. So, which I get that. That's part of what got him here.
Right.
You got to have that mentality.
But I can't be sympathetic for it anymore because you don't care. So why should I care? You don't care. You're going to do it and put the entire season at risk. That's the ultimate irresponsibility. You're going to play to the point that you're willing to put your team's season at risk. You know you're the ultimate piece to the entire puzzle. Without you, they can't compete. Yet you're willing to do the things that will put you out of a game and ruin it for your team. Think about that.
Yeah. And then there's also another element of the team and the franchise should have been better prepared with the backup quarterback, understanding everything at play and how Tua could be susceptible to injury and how the offense is just far too dependent on him when you have the discrepancy between him and the backup quarterback. And so the position that the franchise was put in for any moment where he were to miss games was also a big factor here.
Yeah. No, it was
in the downfall this season.
What are you telling Dolphin fans tomorrow in the Sun Sentinel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wrapping up for what it is. It's a loss where the team, did not handle the elements, just fell into the same narratives that have always stuck with this team. And they lost to another contender, lost in a cold environment. So all those things, and then just following up on any other news and notes. We have Kader Coe who suffered an injury today. Yeah, that hurts. Lower back issue is what that one was. Cam Smith dislocated shoulder. So now a lot of injuries to follow up on going into this upcoming week. Dolphins have a little mini bye here before the next game.
It's official. Cam Smith, fragile. It's official.
Yeah.
It's official. Handle with care. I don't know if he'll ever be a player or not. I know this. His body is fragile as hell. Man, that guy can't stay healthy, and he barely plays. You barely play, and you can't stay healthy. It's weird.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, he's because with Kendall Fuller out, then he would be on for for maybe a quarter of the nickel packages. Storm Duck, when he's on, was playing more than him as that third corner. Then Kader Kohu goes out, and then it's like, all right, now Duck and Cam Smith are 2 and 3. And then, boy, it didn't last long before then he also went out in this game. So, he's another one, injured thing. Yeah.
He can't hang in a practice. He can't stay healthy during practice. He can't stay healthy during the season. He can't stay. And this is 2 years in a row that it's just sack of injury, one after another, after another, after another, after another. I can't call him a bust as a player because I haven't seen enough, but I can call him a bust because the kid can't stay healthy, bro. Like, wow, that's one fragile dude. Football's not made for Cam Smith, unfortunately. NFL football is made for him. That's for sure.
And we're coming down to the end of year 2 for him as the top draft pick for the Dolphins. He was a second-round pick, but the top choice that they made in that draft, and we still really have not seen anything from him. And anytime he does get opportunities, and very quickly after, he's out of the game.
Total disaster so far, Cam Smith. Total disaster. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, you're a stud. Thank you, my brother. Hang in there and safe travel.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You got it. There you go. And call my friends, Welt Rheaume. They'll treat you a lot better than the Dolphins. Oh, man, yes. Oh, yeah. Jeff Welt, by the way, is a Dolphins fan, a long-suffering Dolphins fan, a Canes fan. Well, he's at least enjoying the Canes season. He's not really enjoying the Dolphins season much. So you could talk Dolphins with him. You could talk Canes. You could talk Bitcoin, big Bitcoin guy. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Daniel Rheaume is a stunt pilot. You think he's nervous when he goes to court? Give me a break. This guy's a stunt pilot. He's got balls of steel, and he will crush the opposing insurance company with those balls of steel. So call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume, 954-966-4646.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.